Ella, who's a life code 5. So we'll put Ella there. It's a life code 5, and we have the mother bopping up and down, which I'll explain in a moment, and the father as a life code 110. Okay, so we'll put see, as a life code 110, we've got two different choices. We can either put them in the physical world, or we can put them as in able to see things from the whole perspective. I think we'll put him as in only able to see from a limited view for the moment, and then we'll have a look to see whether that dynamic changes, whether he becomes the key to something that unlocks the rest of the situation. But we'll have a look at that in a moment.
Welcome to the Sensitive Mind Show.
Your purpose in life as a sensitive is to experience the deeper parts of the mind, to move beyond fear and to manage your energy, no matter the circumstance. I'm going to show you, as a sensitive, how you can maximize your talents and feel comfortable in your own skin. For show notes and to join the conversation, visit heidisawyer.com/mind.
This is what Ella has told us about the situation. I live alone in a small town, and so do my folks. My only contact with my mother, life code 4, and father, life code 10, is that my brother, who's life code 4, is the golden child, and he lives 8 hours away. And he has a young son. Now, it feels like a sick relationship with both parents. 20 years they've held my chain. I want out. And I have one friend who I can really trust. So what's the problem the situation creates? I get dismissed by parents, talked at, one-way conversations, phone calls all about them. They dismiss any aspect of childhood abuse and all lies. They dismiss all that. Secrets and no respect. They have no respect for anyone. I'm so much more than they think I am. And I'm exhausted. They seem to need me, and I'm feeling I don't need them, because they have each other. I build myself up in life, and I feel that they smash me down. So the question is, how do I let me go? And how do I limit or cut off the contact? I don't want to play their head games. Okay, so Ella is asking how we need to draw healthy boundaries with her demanding parents, very demanding parents. Okay, so life code to life code, we have a direct conflict. Okay, so we have a direct conflict between a life code 5 and a life code 4. Why would we have that as a direct conflict? Well, it's the straight away across, relating across the 19th path, but there's also a crossing point on here between the 13th. 13th is the path of dilemma, the path of difficulty, the path of challenge. So in this scenario, we're looking at as this life code 5 to this life code 4, that their relationship, especially as it's mother and daughter scenario, is absolutely based in challenge. Okay, so this dynamic is based in challenge. It either can be very harmonious between a 5 and a 4, or it can be the biggest challenge that there is, because we have this 13th path dilemma, which brings up the dark part of what it is, sometimes as what feels like a soul challenge to overcome. And we have in this scenario this life code 4 presented as jumping up and down, being really quite uncomfortable. Now, as a life code 4, this is meant to be about love. Okay, it's about to be about love, and as a life code 5, about finding your own will. Okay, so as these two energies interact in life, it is about what is created in our external world. So what becomes our reality? So theoretically, you should be putting the 5 and the 4 together and having this amazing manifestation into life. But guess what? We have at the bottom here, in that 110 position, in terms of the physical, we have this father energy. Okay, so what does the father energy represent? Well, the father energy represents security, loyalty, someone who's the archetype, as far as the father is concerned, is meant to be the protector. It's meant to be the life protector, all of that. So when the 5 and a 4 energy comes together and creates and manifests, what is it supposed to create and manifest? This protector in life, this protective energy in how us as human beings go about our world, where we feel protected enough, safe enough to have a full experience of life. That's the whole point of these 5 and 4 energies coming together. Now, in this situation, we haven't got that at all. We have got Ella as this life code 5 feeling very undermined and feeling very open, feeling very wounded, feeling like there is no love as far as the mother is concerned, and definitely where the 5 and the 4 comes together, that it represents some kind of security in this world. None. It's not there. I suspect the father voices quite a bit, or voices, or he doesn't voice it. When a situation is uncomfortable, when it's unpleasant, sometimes the worst thing is the person that we see as the one who's meant to protect us, or feel that they've got our back, or some kind of voice as far as we're concerned. When they haven't, we feel the most let down by them, rather than the person who is the most abusive. Why? Because we feel exposed and unprotected. Now, what more of a scenario for a person in life than to feel exposed and unprotected as far as the parental dynamic is concerned? After all, we are trained through society, through life, to have this loyalty, this amazing loyalty to our parents, no matter what their behaviour is. Almost as though it's excusable, that we have to make the consistent excuses for it. After all, they are your parents. But sometimes in life, people have situations where they accept levels of abuse or abusive behaviour over and above what they would ever receive or expect from anybody else. And they take it and they try and process it. It doesn't make it right, and it certainly doesn't make it any easier on your whole body, on your whole system, if it's your parents directing that kind of poison in your life. And in this situation, we're looking at how Ella is having to manage what feels to her like a poisonous situation. And definitely, as this 5, 4 and 1, 10 energy, it will be impacting her massively, because how it's presented in terms of the tree of life, it's everything to do with the life force. So no wonder she wants to remove herself from their influence, because she feels, especially in this key 110 position, and the 4, that all of her life force, she will be feeling very much so, that all of her life force is being sucked from her. Whereas if the parental dynamic was in a different life code position, it may not impact her quite so much. It may be something that she finds easy then to step away from. And also, they will feel that Ella, even though they're abusive towards her, feed her. She feeds them, as in she feeds them their own life force for this whole abusive dynamic and their sense of self. So then they don't ever have to address what unpleasantries they've divulged. They don't ever have to take responsibility for it. And sometimes people continue to be wildly abusive because then they never have to take responsibility for it, because suddenly if they own it, it makes them wrong and they can never be wrong. So I would say, before we even go into further looking into this, that Ella's desire, so how do I let them let go of me, and how do I limit or cut off contact? I don't want to play their head games. I would say, in this situation, that Ella is really very much making the right decision, that she needs to remove that level of contact, but at the same time she's going to have a conflict with that, because she'll mistakenly see that somehow or another it's her life force, and definitely these two people will hang on tight that she is their life force. Okay, because very much, this is a slightly unusual scenario, very much of this positioning between the 5-4 and then the 1-10, everything to do with how you're protected in this world. And she doesn't feel that at all at the moment. Okay, so let's have a look. So the big question is, how does Ella create her freedom? Let's have a little look, or make it as painless as possible. So first of all, we need to look at how Ella manages that. Let's have a look. So what do we have for Ella? We have the victim. And without doubt, it's not that she's feeling the victim, that she's feeling, oh, I'm a victim, blah, blah, blah. She is, okay? Without doubt, definitely is this set up between the 4 and then the 1-10. If this 1-10 here, the father wasn't here in the 1-10, it would be much easier for her to manage. Let's say if he was a 7 or a 3 or that kind of thing. But the fact that she's got nowhere to go, really, that whole dynamic she feels, I would say she would feel incredibly trapped, and that nothing has its freedom of movement because she can't be herself. She can't be herself, definitely in her physical world, I would say. So let's have a look to see what she can do as far as her own inner world is concerned, about releasing this intensity of the mother's abusive behaviour, very verbally abusive behaviour, and also, obviously, the foundation of her life experience. Okay, so we have the hedonist here. I would say, most definitely, Ella has referred to her mother as, a narcissistic character, and I would say I would support that completely. We've got the hedonist here. This is a very narcissistic person. Okay, when someone is very narcissistic, doesn't mean to say that they kind of and take selfies, or I'm so wonderful, I'm so important. People have that perception of that's what narcissism is, but when someone is a very narcissistic character, it's very what it actually means is that they're the only one who exists. They can only see things from their perspective, and they never want to own any sign of vulnerability. So to keep that away, they will use abusive tonality or behaviour towards another person, because they never ever want to experience the fact that they at any level have any form of vulnerability. And with this hedonist here and this mother's behaviour, especially as this life code 4, we've got a very, very alive dynamic of an unaware 4 really throwing in to that narcissistic framework, never ever wanting to take responsibility. So let's have a look at the father. Okay, so just bear with me a second. What do we have? We have the orphan child. So his issue is he has a tremendous fear of abandonment, which is why he supports the mother's behaviour. Okay, so he supports the mother's behaviour because he has this very strong fear, childhood fear of abandonment at some level or another. So he will protect the mother's bad behaviour, especially because he has a fear of being abandoned, left alone. So, what can Ella learn from this? She can learn that she can never fix this situation, that she cannot fix these people, that these people are not going to change. What does that mean? Well, sometimes in life, the best thing you can do is give yourself permission to move on. And in giving yourself permission to move on, you're not asking anyone else for permission to move on. Because sometimes in life, actually, it's not appropriate to stay around something that is wildly abusive just because you feel obliged to. And in this situation, I would say, for Anna's sake, definitely because these are a 4 and a 110 here, it's really influencing her. She needs to find her own courage, her own warrior, because the 5 is about finding your own will. It's about finding that warrior, and she can find that within herself to give herself permission that actually she's okay to release herself from obligation and contact, because these people are not going to change. And sometimes in life we have to accept that some things are there that we cannot change. But what we do have power over is our ability to handle that. So if Ella utilises that and that takes her out of this victim, let's have a little quick look to see what courage or what encouragement she can take from that. Okay, so we have the nature child. It means coming back to her own sense of peace, okay, and feeling that actually she can have that sense of peace if she releases herself from the obligation of this dynamic. That's the end of this episode of the Sensitive Mind Show. If you've enjoyed it and found it helpful, do share it with your friends, and be sure to join me next week where I look forward to giving you an alternative perspective on your relationship dilemmas. Bye for now, and let me leave you with this.
For more great free content designed to support your purchase of my book, Highly Intuitive People, 7 Right Brain Traits to Change the Lives of Intuitive Sensitive People, please visit finallyfeelunderstood.com. There you can subscribe and download for free the meditation specific to today's episode. If you have already read the book, then it's time for you to receive exclusive access and support from me and your fellow intuitive sensitives as we go deeper together along this proven 7-step path by joining us in my monthly membership program called Heidi's Circle. There you can ask me anything in a safe and private environment, and I will answer you live. Join us today by visiting healmyinnerworld.com.